Hi, I'm Kayla, a fairly recent Army dropout after 8 years of active duty in the Army, and I'm currently traveling the United States in my 1991 Mitsubishi Delica van as I figure out my next moves. So since my van is a bit more of an unusual vehicle that people don't see as often, I just wanted to provide an overview of how I came across this vehicle and why I decided I wanted one. When I first started looking for vans, which was probably about 2015 or 2016, I initially became interested in the classic Volkswagen bus. In particular, I was interested in the Volkswagen Westfalia Synchro, which is the small Volkswagen van that has a pop top, is also four-wheel drive and diesel. The reason this type of van appealed to me so much is because I wanted to be able to access some farther back remote areas that a van that didn't have four-wheel drive or was bigger or less maneuverable wouldn't be able to. Additionally, because of the fact that these Volkswagen buses are older, I knew a diesel engine would be better in terms of longevity. So I looked and I mostly spent time on Craigslist just perusing and seeing what was available, and I found that the majority of these vehicles were above $20,000, and some of them were as high as $60,000 depending on the modifications, upgrades, and maintenance that had been done on them. Additionally, from the different Volkswagen forums that I found online, it seemed to be that this type of vehicle would be an investment of a lot of time and effort and money because there were a lot of mechanical issues with Volkswagens. So if you're really an enthusiast and enjoy doing mechanical work, then it would be a good fit. But for someone like me who doesn't do any of that, I thought, you know what, maybe I should direct my attention elsewhere. So that's when I began searching for a different type of van. Now, I still really liked the look, the size, the 4x4 capability, and the fact that Westfalia Synchros were diesel. So I wondered if I could find all those attributes in a different brand and model. And so I just decided to Google vans that look like Volkswagen Westfalia Synchros, and I happened to stumble upon the Mitsubishi Delica van. This is specifically a 1991 Mitsubishi Delica L300, and it's got this almost bus-like, boxy kind of style to it. I learned that while all these vans don't have pop tops, they did manufacture some that came with a pop top, and not only that, but they were also four-wheel drive and diesel. These vans were manufactured in Japan, and so they're right-hand drive. So the steering wheel is on the right-hand side, and it seems kind of weird at first, but it literally took a couple of hours to get used to, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. And some of them are just passenger vans that you can convert, and some of them actually have some different modifications that have made them specifically for the purpose of being a camper van. In any case, this seemed to be about the best match that I could find in terms of having all of the attributes that I wanted and making it, again, very similar to the Volkswagen Westfalia Synchro. At that point, I started doing research on how I can get a hold of one of these vans. What I learned is that with importation, there are different rules for the US and Canada. I found that there seemed to be a much larger presence of these vans in Canada specifically. The reason for that is because of importation restrictions. So to import into Canada, a vehicle must be at least 15 years or older, whereas to get imported into the US, these vehicles need to be 25 years or older to not have to worry about the Department of Transportation restrictions or EPA and all of that stuff. So when I was looking at these vans, again, it was about, at this point, 2016. They were pretty common. There was a cult following kind of in Canada, but I didn't really see many of them in the US at this point because a lot of them hadn't hit that 25-year mark yet. In terms of actually finding the specific van that I own now, I really looked primarily on Craigslist, and I was able to find this van on Craigslist at a Japanese vehicle importer in Vancouver, Canada. There are also JDM vehicle importers all over the US. I'll link some of the different Japanese vehicle importers and Delica forums that I'm aware of. There's probably a lot more that I'm not aware of, but really, Craigslist, you're going to find most things posted there. Even these importers often post these vehicles for sale on Craigslist as well. In a future video, I'm going to go into specifically how to import one of these vehicles. There's a lot of different paperwork you need to figure out and make sure that you have available when you're ready to cross the border into the US from Canada. And it's not a complicated process, but you need to make sure that you have everything set and right before you cross the border. You don't want to get stuck in Canada or have your vehicle stuck in Canada. Thanks for listening, and I hope this was helpful.